Back in 1981, Mario made his first appearance as a character called Jumpman in the very first Donkey Kong arcade game. He was the hero who had to climb up a series of platforms while avoiding barrels and other obstacles that the ape sent his way, all in an attempt to rescue his captured girlfriend. That game was a hit, and would be followed up by a sequel called Donkey Kong Jr. This time around, Jumpman was the bad guy, having imprisoned Donkey Kong, with you playing as Donkey Kong Jr. in a mission to rescue your dear old dad. Mario's villainous past hasn't been lost on some. It's a theorized belief that Mario, in his own games, is actually the villain, whereas Bowser, his famous antagonist, is actually not all that evil. So today we're diving into a few theories and reasons as to why Bowser is actually a good guy, with our list of the top 10 reasons that prove Bowser is not a villain. Starting us off in at number 10, rightful leader. Let's consider Bowser's status in the Mushroom Kingdom. He's often referred to as King Koopa. Now, sure, that could be the same sort of titling that we see in something like Game of Thrones, where those vying to actually be king took up that title. But there doesn't seem to be any opposition in terms of other royalty figures in the Mushroom Kingdom, minus princesses. And typically in fiction, characters vying for the title of king have some sort of claim, whether that be birthright or having been elected to that post. One theory on Destructoid by an author named Anthony Birch suggests that rather than King Koopa being the insurgent in the Mushroom Kingdom, it's Peach, since outside of the non-canon Super Mario Bros. Movie, there's never any mention of her royal heritage, or a Mushroom King. And consider how many loyal subjects Bowser has under his dominion to begin with. Up next at 9, Bowser gets invited to parties. Consider how many times Bowser has appeared in Mario spin-off titles. If he was really all that evil, would he really be invited to all those Mario Party games and play fun little mini-games with everybody? Sure, this is actually more of a sign that Mario is kind of a dick for inviting his foes to crash the party with all of his pals, completely ignoring any vendettas or grudges that exist. But Bowser can't really be all that bad if he's hanging out with them. Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. Are one thing. That's often a rough and aggressive competition, but playing fun mini-games together? I don't know. Seems odd. Up next, number 8, he's more of a bully. Take a look at some of the villains from other Nintendo games. Ganondorf, he wants to conquer Hyrule and is technically a mass murderer and has also almost committed genocide multiple times. Team Rocket, well, they steal, they exploit, and they experiment on Pokemon, all for profit. And Bowser, well, he kidnaps Peach. Which one of these is not like the others? He also occasionally acts in the name of good, looking out for the Mushroom Kingdom. In Super Mario RPG, he's directly involved in saving Mushroom Kingdom and Star Road, and he helps defeat Fawful in Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. And at number 7, his childhood. In Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, we get some insight into Bowser's past, and how he was essentially adopted by the Dark Magic Koopa, Kamek, who acted as his caretaker and was his primary father figure. In the game, Kamek looks into the future, and sees that Mario and Luigi will one day be troublesome for Bowser, so he goes to intercept the stork that carries the two baby twins in an attempt to protect his adopted son. Yoshi gets in the way, of course, which results in a big face-off between baby Bowser and baby Mario. This suggests that perhaps if Kamek hadn't interfered, Bowser and Mario would never have become the archenemies they are today. Plus, being raised by an evil Magic Koopa probably doesn't help much when it comes to establishing a strong moral compass at a young age. Just saying. In at number 6, the Zelda Theory. According to a theory posted by Nintendo Today user Zorpix, based on the idea that the Legend of Zelda universe and Mario universe are one and the same, which is a whole other theory of its own, Bowser is just mislabeled as a villain. The theory speculates that since both Link and Bowser collect fairies in bottles, Bowser actually isn't as evil as he seems. Link's seen as a good guy, but Bowser's seen as evil. Rather, Mario and Luigi are dim-witted, and Bowser is actually doing everyone a major favor by capturing the fairies in an attempt to keep them from overrunning the Mushroom Kingdom. And the reason why he's kidnapping Peach is to show her that he's a good ruler, an action that he carries out in a pretty misguided way, but with good intentions since he never actually harmed Peach. And at number 5, Super Mario 3D World. Speaking of capturing fairies, another theory has emerged concerning Bowser capturing fairies. Blogger Ryan Gartman pointed out that in the game, Mario and Luigi don't seem all that concerned about stopping Bowser collecting the fairies, aka the Sprixies, until Peach falls down the crystal pipe that appears in the beginning of the game. He notes, I quote, "But why, after all this time of persistently wreaking havoc in the Mushroom Kingdom, did Bowser seemingly give up on each to capture the Sprixies of the Sprixie Kingdom? It could be simply that he likes taking over places, and that capturing Sprixies is the natural progression of his princess capturing obsession. But I like to think that Bowser isn't as simple-minded as that. The Sprixies potentially have the power to create and build things aside from their crystal pipes, so perhaps that is the reason why Bowser is collecting them. Now, Gartman also suggests that he wants to build out of the good of his heart, from building castles to reward his own followers, and even that amusement park that he's built at the end of the game too. Could Mario just be preventing Bowser from doing a kind gesture? Up next at 4, his minions. Speaking of minions, Bowser has always treated them really well. An evil villain generally has minions who fear them. But Bowser's, well, they seem to respect him. And considering that they willingly go into battle against Mario for him, well, there's gotta be some sort of devotion to King Koopa there, or otherwise, why bother? Even with the number of victories that Mario has had over the years, they still stick by his side, and they're still willing to have Mario's feet stomp on them. And at number 3, Bowser's a good dad. Okay, sure, being a good parent doesn't exempt you from being a villain. You could be a serial killer, but be the best parent in the world to your own kids, and that doesn't mean you should be hailed as a hero. But if anything, Bowser's parenting shows off part of his character, something to consider in the overall scheme of how he's not actually all that bad. There's a lot of love in Bowser's heart, and Bowser has always been depicted as a father who cares about his kids. Hell, he even gave each of them their own castle. Nintendo even highlighted his relationship with Bowser Jr. in their Nintendo Switch parental control video demos. It's like the cutest thing. And in Super Mario Sunshine, he captures Peach with the intention of giving his kids a mother, which has actually spawned theories that Peach is in fact their birth mother, considering how many times she's been captured by Bowser in the past. And at number 2, his treatment of Peach. Now, from a logical perspective, capturing and imprisoning a woman against her will is definitely something that's a major no-no, and should most definitely be looked down upon. But perhaps Bowser doesn't know any better. He genuinely thinks that he's doing the right thing, and that's why he's never actually harmed Peach physically. Bowser kidnaps Peach out of his love for her. He even tries to marry her a handful of times. It doesn't matter how many times his castle is destroyed, how many of his minions are killed, or how many times she's rejected him. Bowser will continue to try and try again. But Peach has never really appeared to be all that traumatized by her constant abduction, which could just be a product of writing a female character badly, but let's assume our pals at Nintendo are smarter than that. And if we're running with that Peach is his children's mom theory, consider this. We've seen in a handful of times in Mario games that Peach is perfectly adequate of defending herself. This has led some to believe that she allows herself to get captured, or goes with Bowser willingly. But for whatever shame or dislike of Bowser that she has, she's always let herself get rescued by Mario in the end. And finally, in at number 1, Mario is skeezy. We could do a whole video on why Mario is actually pretty crappy. Hate to burst your bubble, friends, but if you really look at the Italian plumber's actions, some of his behavior in the past is pretty questionable. He often abandons Yoshi, leaving him for dead. He never gives Toad any credit. Luigi is always in his shadow, and always dragged on journeys with him. Despite Peach clearly showing affection for him, he insists on being a bachelor. In his second video game appearance, like we mentioned, he tried to kill Donkey Kong Jr., a young ape, for trying to save his father, who Mario himself kidnapped and imprisoned. Mario often demolishes Bowser's castle even when it's kind of uncalled for, and his first instinct is to always fight rather than talk things through, for the most part. In addition to all of this, it's important to remember that all of the other narrative-based games in the story are usually told from the perspective of the Mario Bros, which displays them as infallible protagonists and Bowser as the bad guy. If we were seeing a game from Bowser's perspective, how much light would that shine on Mario as an antagonist? Can't help but wonder. Alright, there we have it, friends. What are your thoughts on the matter? Is Bowser really not all that bad after all? Or is he as dastardly as Mario wants us to believe? Share your thoughts and feels with us in those comments below. If you dug this video, please spread the love and be sure to hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Gaming for all things video games, from lists to news to highlights and so much more. In the meantime, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch you all in the next video.